Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to the shop. This time I'll be working on installing the last couple of floor frames in the camper conversion for our 2013 Mitsubishi Fuso FG. In previous videos, I cut 3-inch wide strips of 1/8 inch thick aluminum and bent them into an angle in my home-built 20-ton air-over hydraulic press brake. Then I used my shear to trim the corners and started welding them into place on the floor pans in each side. Now I'm fitting in the center section frames, and once they're welded across the tops, I'll pull the floor pan up to the frame to keep it flat and help stiffen everything up. Because aluminum likes to deform a lot when it's heated, I'm being very careful to control how much I shrink the top while doing these welds. And this is why you can see the clamps holding down each side. I do need the top to shrink a little bit to get rid of some of the camber in the floor, but only a very small amount. You can see that the center section of the floor pans are bowed a little, and that's okay, because once I have the tops of these frames welded to the longitudinal structure, I'll close this gap and weld the pan to the frame. As you can see, I've already cleaned the aluminum where I'll be making the stitch welds, as it's much easier to do this before the frame goes into place. I am far from a professional TIG welder, but this project is definitely helping me to improve my skill level. I still hit the tungsten more than I should, and not everything comes out looking right, but I'm slowly improving. The reason aluminum warps and twists is the weld shrinking when it cools. This weld is running from the back to the front on the floor, and when it cools, it will shrink across its width, which pulls the material together along the top of these frames. Over a larger distance, this causes the outer edges to want to lift. Sometimes this shrinking can be used to your advantage if you want to remove warpage in the opposite direction, and sometimes you need to pre-stress or pre-curve parts in the opposite direction so that when things shrink, they actually come out flat. TIG welding tip: save all your short filler rod ends for your tacks.
Have you ever been partway into a project and realized that you didn't have what you needed to finish the job, and it was the weekend and the stores were closed? That's why I love Amazon. Nice fresh pack of tungsten for the TIG welder. Now, if you are an Amazon shopper and you want to help support this channel, I'd greatly appreciate it if you'd follow any of the links in the video description. You don't have to buy what I've posted there, just follow the link and do your regular shopping. Check out within 24 hours. It does not cost you anything extra, and it helps this channel just a little bit. Really appreciate it.
Now let's get into pulling the floor pan tight to the frames. For this, I use good old gravity. Lifting the whole floor up, putting a small block under where I want the floor to come up, and then lowering the floor back onto the small block concentrates the weight to that spot and gives a really nice tight fit to the frame, ready for a weld. Speaking of blocks, the height of the truck and having to reach into the center means I now have to stand on blocks to have enough reach. Repeating this lift, lower, and weld process gets the floor pan fitting perfectly to the frames and adds a lot of stiffness to the whole assembly. Each time I'm ready to place a new weld, I lift the floor, move the block, and repeat. It's a little tough to see, but as I lower the floor, you can see the gap close up as the floor pan pushes up to the frame. As you can tell, this is not a fast process, but it works. There's a lot of moving and not a lot of welding, and that is why jobs like this take so much time. Without the fans on, I'm sweating in this heat, and sweat is conductive, so I started getting some high-frequency zapping coming from my arc through the TIG rod and out my sweaty elbow, right about here. And that means it's time to go cool down.
Well, there we go. All the frames are now welded in, but that's as far as I can go at this point. I'm sick of being zapped by my welder because I'm soaking wet with sweat. Please don't forget to check out the Amazon links in the description below. Follow those Amazon links and you'll really be helping me out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.